My names are Duncan Trussell, and this is the DTFH. Returning to the DTFH is one of my favorite musicians. I'm sure you are aware of his insane work. Mr. Bill is here with us today. If you're like me and you love making music, you should definitely check out MrBillsTunes.com. If you've ever listened to any kind of super psychedelic music and thought, how did he do that? Do that. Do that. Do that. Do that. How did he do that? Did he throw a microphone?
Do that.
Into a hyper-dimensional gargoyle's mouth and record the rumblings of the quantum vacuum within its stomach? No, that's not what he did. How the fuck? No, that's not what he did. That's not what he did. Actually, a lot of the things that you hear in that kind of music are very doable. I'm sorry if this is a ridiculous question, but where is that coming from? Like, where is that ability to tune in to a specific frequency that I have only experienced, like when like in like either like dream states or like deep psychedelic experiences? What's your process, man?
So usually, like, it's kind of like creative accidents that then inspire some sort of idea generation. And I believe that creativity doesn't live in a vacuum at all. I don't feel like any of us like really have original ideas. I feel like everything that we ever think or every idea that we ever have was spawned by the thing that just preceded that, basically, and then that gave us the thought to do X, Y, Z. And I feel like if you can kind of generate like interesting randomness, you can basically create like an endless cycle of creativity as long as you have that that sort of stimuli to just generate like ideas that you find exciting.
I love how inclusive you are in sharing your process, how you're making some of these sounds. And I just kept thinking, how the fuck is he making this? I bet it's like a trade secret. I bet he doesn't. Then it's like you give away every single trick.
Yeah.
It seems like
pretty much.
But I have to ask, do you hide anything?
No.
Is there
I don't.
anything you're like, I'm not putting out? Wow.
I don't.
And
so cool. The reason why is because I think at the end of the day, like at this point of music production, no one is starved for information or starved for like resources like good quality samples, good quality synthesizer presets, like good quality VST synthesizers at all, which didn't really even exist when I started. And yeah, all the information is on YouTube. All of the software is out there. Like everyone's got access to everything. And so I think the only thing setting people apart at this point is their creativity and their ideas, like their ability to generate an idea, because everyone literally has the same set of sounds at this point to work with.
I think there's something even before that, which is most people, when they listen to the kind of music that you make, the first thought out of their head isn't, I could do that. Would be easy to make this. I could make something that sounds like someone threw a microphone into a black hole. Like, no problem. So I think that's the first probably obstacle, is most people just don't feel like they have what it takes to make music of any kind, much less like something as sophisticated, high-tech, and intense as what you produce.
I have that with a lot of things, not with music obviously, but I have it with like, if I look at some sort of Beeple 3D generated art or something, I'm like, well, that's so crazy, I can never do that. But really, the only thing that's holding me back is just looking into it and just spending like many hours just messing around with 3D software and stuff. Like, I realistically could, but yeah, there's this mental block, I feel like, that a lot of people put up, and I also put up, where you kind of just like discount the fact that it would be possible for you to do at all for XYZ, whatever justification. You might not even think about it, but like literally, if you just go on the internet and you're driven enough and you just want to make music, like digital electronic music or any music really, like just go to YouTube and type it in. Like, all the information is there. It's crazy.
I think this is sort of like part of being human, is without even realizing you've done it, you've sort of locked yourself in this tiny little room with this is what I do, and this everything outside of the room is what I don't do. So you might see, like, I don't know, some experiment in quantum entanglement, and you think to yourself, I would never be able to take quantum particles and entangle them. I would never, or you wouldn't even look into like, what does that even mean? Or what is that? What is a qubit? What is that? And then how would I, if I wanted to do like access to something that would let me entangle particles? You would never even get that far. You just block yourself. I'm using a very extreme example, but anyone listening, I'm sure you have a list of things that you think, that's not me. I would never do that.
Well, something like that, for example, like I would think about it for like 2 seconds and go like, you'd probably need a physics degree, you'd probably need to go to like MIT or some shit or whatever. And I just like, put a block up, like it's not happening. But who knows? I mean, I haven't even looked into it. Like maybe if I went online or like went on YouTube, I could start to understand bits of it, and then that might inspire me to learn more and more of it. And everything's possible. But yeah, it's definitely. I think that's probably where a lot of people maybe even get stuck, right? It's like the before even trying bit, they just kind of like decide that they can't do it for whatever reason.
Yeah, it's a really like exciting thing just to even realize that about yourself. Like when I got into like just trying to make songs and make music, or even when I got into comedy, pretty much anything that I've gotten into, I never thought, I should do that, or I could do that, or I'll be able to do that. It was always having to overcome like an insane, barely permeable membrane of confusion. I think that's the only way to put it. It's not even self-doubt. It's just confusion, or a kind of self-imposed limitation.
Especially when you're getting into a field that's been around for a long time, and like so many people have stood on the shoulders of giants to get it where it is today, that it's like to climb up all of those people would just be like insane. So like, for instance, like comedy, right? It's been around for a long time. Music's been around for a long time. It's just very overwhelming, I think, when you first get into it, because it's just so much to learn. And that like initial hump, like that initial learning curve, I think is what holds a lot of people back. So I went to this doof and took acid for my first time and listened to Psytrance all night, and I was like, oh man, this is basically like metal, which is what I was super into at the time, because I really liked all the like how tight metal was and like how like technical it sounded and stuff. And then I heard Psytrance whilst on acid and was like, well, this is way more technical and way cleaner, and like this is insane. Had no idea like what a DJ was or what the people on stage were even doing, any of that stuff. But then like on the drive home, I was like chatting with my friend, and he's like, oh yeah, I know how to do that stuff. I got like Fruity Loops. I've messed around with it a bit. I kind of get the concept. So I hung out with him for a bit and was just messing with FL. And then from there, I decided like maybe after like a year or two of that, I found Ableton. And then about like around that same time, I decided, fuck it, I'm going to go to university and get a degree in audio engineering. And then did that, and then sort of by the time I'd finished university, I was like getting show offers and stuff like that to play small parties around Sydney. And so that's basically how it happened. But the decision was made when I was like 15 to just do music. But like the path that it took me on was definitely not what I thought it would be. I thought I would just be in like a band or something.
Wow, that is, man, that's what I'm talking about. you've ever listened to any kind of super psychedelic music and thought, how did he do that? Do that. Do that. Do that. Do that. Do that. How did he do that? Did he throw a microphone into a hyper-dimensional gargoyle's mouth and record the rumblings of the quantum vacuum within its stomach? No, that's not what he did. How the fuck? No, that's not what he did. That's not what he did. Actually, a lot of the things that you hear in that kind of music are very doable.
Demons, be gone!
Be gone, demons.
Be gone!
Leave this studio!
Leave this planet.